So now let's talk about Amazon Bedrock agents. So the agent is going to be a very smart thing that is going to act a little bit like a human. The idea is that instead of just asking questions to a model, now the model is going to be able to start thinking a little bit and to perform various multi-step tasks. And these tasks may have an impact on our own databases or our own infrastructure. So the agent can actually create infrastructure, it can deploy applications, and can do operations on our systems. So here now the agent doesn't provide us information, it also starts to think and act. So for example, it's going to look at tasks and then it's going to perform the task in the correct order and ensure that the correct information is passed within the task, even if we haven't programmed the agent to do so. So what we do is that we are going to create what's called action groups, and the agents are going to be configured to understand what these action groups do and what they mean. And then automatically, the agent will be able to integrate with other systems, services, databases, and API to exchange data or to initiate action. And also, if you need to get some information out of your systems in terms of unlabeled data, you can look at RAG to retrieve the information when necessary. So that sounds a little bit magical, but I will show you exactly how that works. So in Amazon Bedrock, you would go and create an agent, and you are defining what the agent is responsible for. So for example, you are an agent responsible for accessing purchase history for our customers, as well as recommendations into what they can purchase next. And you're responsible for placing new orders. So the agent knows that it can do all these things. So if the user is asking something for the agent or the model to do one of these things, Bedrock is smart, is going to say, well, this agent probably is going to be responsible for these actions. Then the agent knows about a few action groups. So for example, we have defined an API. It's a way to interface with our system. And we have, for example, defined get recent purchases or get recommended purchases or get purchase details and then a specific purchase ID. So all these things are known to the agent in terms of what is the expected input for these APIs and what do these APIs do, what is the documentation around it. And all this is provided thanks to an open API schema. And so when done, well, the agent can invoke these and behind the scenes, of course, interact with our backend systems, for example, make changes to our database. The other way to set up an action group is to use Lambda functions. So Lambda functions are a way to run a little bit of code in AWS without provisioning infrastructure. So the Lambda functions, again, can be used to be created and place an order through a Lambda function. And so it could use the same database or a new database, but the idea is that I wanted to show here that the agent can interact either with an external API or with Lambda functions on your AWS accounts. And finally, it has access to knowledge bases that we define, of course. And so, for example, say we have a knowledge base around our company, a shipping policy and return policy, et cetera, et cetera. So we could have those. And so if the user is asking something about the return policy for an order it's about to do, the agent is smart enough to also provide that to the user. So the agents are very smart and they know what to access and then automatically will know how to do it. So how does that work behind the scenes? Well, say we have a task and we give this task to a Bedrock agent. Now the agent is going to look at the prompt. It's going to look at all the conversation history, look at all the actions available, as well as the knowledge bases. What are the instructions and what is the task? And it's going to take all this information together and send it to a generative AI model backed by Amazon Bedrock and say, please tell me how you would proceed to perform these actions given all this information. So it's using the chain of thought. Chain of thought means that the output of the Bedrock model is going to be a list of steps. So step 1, you need to do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. And step N, last step, do that. And so the steps are going to be executed by the agent and say, first one, call an API call on this action group and get the result. Step 2, do it again. Step 3, call another API, etc., etc. Maybe it could be a search into a knowledge base and they get the results and so on. But so the agent is going to work and do all these things for us, thanks to the steps that were generated by the Bedrock model, which is amazing. And then the final result is returned to the Bedrock agent. The Bedrock agent then sends the tasks and the results to another Bedrock model. And the Bedrock model is going to synthesize everything and give a final response to our user, and we'll get the final response. So this is all happening behind the scenes. Of course, we just use the agent and the agent does stuff, and automatically we see the final response. But Bedrock is really nice because you actually have something called tracing on your agent, and this allows you to see the list of steps that were done by the agent, so you can debug in case you don't like a way an agent performed something. So that's it for Amazon Bedrock Agents. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.